Hi, my name is Justin Diaz, and today I'll be doing a presentation on gender inequality and its impact on female athletes. First of all, my research question for this presentation is, to what extent has gender inequality impacted the mental health of female athletes around the world? First is my problem and my solution. Around the world, gender inequality has grown immensely. Women are paid less than male counterparts in sports. They're often abused and receive much less airtime than their male counterparts. This in turn causes the mental health of female athletes to decline. This can eventually be solved if laws are put in place to empower female athletes to speak out against sexism and abuse in the industry. This kind of fits into the bigger picture as if women in sports are more empowered, then women around the world will look at them and will also start to try and be more empowered. First is my first piece of evidence. Young women tend to drop out of athletics by the age of 14 at a rate 2 times higher than boys at the same age. That researcher, Zanin, says that there is also a gender bias where girls are more likely to be expected to help around the house, where boys are generally more accepted to participate in sports. My second piece of evidence comes from the College Board article, and it states that athletes and coaches have turned a blind eye to harassment and abuse in the industry. This has led to a culture of victim blaming, and it's reinforced a culture of boys will be boys, and basically that women can't really talk about this abuse that they've faced. This next piece of evidence also comes from the College Board article. It basically talks about match scheduling and how men's matches tend to be scheduled at the same time as women's matches, and this tends to get lower pay for women athletes, as more people are going to watch the male athletes compete rather than the female athletes. This image right here basically just shows the pay gap between men and women in sports. As you can see at the top here, right here, it says that men make a total, men's bonuses are total around $400 million over 32 teams, while women only get around $30 million in bonuses total in 24 teams. Now is the impacts of gender inequality. Because of the gender inequality in sports, many women tend to develop pathologies, which are basically just mental illnesses. Women have developed anxiety disorders, eating disorders, and many other mental problems because of gender inequality in sports. Along with this, many women feel as if they're not able to discuss their sexuality for fear of losing in sponsorships. My first piece of evidence here comes from a study named Psychological Balance in High-Level Athletes, Gender-Based Differences and Sport-Specific Patterns. Basically just says that 17% of athletes have at least one ongoing or recent disorder. Generalized anxiety disorder is the most prevalent with 6%, followed by non-specific eating disorders, and overall about 20.2% of women have at least one psychopathology rather than 15.1% in men. This comes from the same article, and it basically just states that in 2012, the National Collegiate Athletic Association had a Campus Pride report, and it basically states that 4.6% of student athletes identified as either lesbian, gay, or bisexual, and basically many of these people are fear talking about their sexuality, as I stated earlier, because they're scared of losing sponsorships or money. And that's my works cited page. Thank you. Any questions?
I do have 2 questions for you. First one, how did your research question evolve as you moved through the process?
So at first, I kind of just wanted to focus specifically on how big and how much gender inequality, like how present it is in the or in sports around the world. But overall, I realized that I should probably include the impacts of gender inequality as well, instead of just overall how it is present.
Okay, and if you had more time, what additional research would you have conducted?
I think I probably would have conducted more research into finding solutions to these problems, and just overall finding a way to stop gender inequality from spreading throughout sports.
You were done.